Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani Kekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Mbedi on the 12th of November, and these are some of the top stories we're looking at. Mauritius Prime Minister accepts huge defeat in election. DR Congo opposition, civil society dig in as Tshisekedi allegedly plots constitutional change. And Donald Trump inherits waning U.S. strength in Africa. Sichula and Rorisang Mogojwe will deliver news from Zambia and Botswana respectively. Find us on DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 1up2.com and Network Media Hub on YouTube. Top stories on the other side of the break.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
The Prime Minister of Mauritius has accepted that his coalition, L'Alliance Le Peuple, has suffered a huge defeat following Sunday's parliamentary election. The population has decided to choose another team. Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth told journalists yesterday. Now, Jugnauth was seeking a second 5-year term, but his main rival, Navin Ramgoolam, leader of the Alliance of Change coalition, is set to become the next leader of the Indian Ocean archipelago. Now, Mauritius is known as one of Africa's most stable democracies, but this election was tainted by a phone-tapping scandal with leaked recordings of public figures posted online. In response, the government issued a social media ban until after the election, although this led to an outcry and the decision was reversed within 24 hours. Final results are yet to be released, but Ramgoolam's party looks set to win. We must respect this choice and we wish the country and the population good luck, said Jugnauth. The vote comes after a historic agreement in which the UK gave up sovereignty over the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Congolese political and civil society leaders on Saturday announced an alliance to rally against constitutional changes that are meant to ensure President Felix Tshisekedi keeps power indefinitely. Named National Awakening, the coalition will hold its first meeting in mid-December to pay tribute to the 2005 referendum, which gave birth to the 2006 constitution. They called attempts by Tshisekedi's ruling coalition to change the constitution high treason. Opposition leaders Martin Fayulu and Mose Katumbi are also leading separate initiatives against the constitutional review project. Tshisekedi has called the current text outdated and ripe for reform. The law limits presidential mandates to two members of Tshisekedi's party, saying that the current constitution was written from a position of weakness because the country was embroiled in a war. They say that reforms are needed to protect the country's sovereignty amid changing political and military dynamics in that region. Now, a decline in U.S. influence in Africa means U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's administration will have to grapple with blind spots in its understanding of a fast-changing continent increasingly allied with China and Russia and threatened by spreading jihadist insurgencies. Interviews with 8 current and former officials, along with a review of U.S. government watchdog reports, a show of a dearth of staff and resources under President Joe Biden at embassies in Africa undermined efforts to implement Washington's goals. The U.S. racked up diplomatic setbacks over the past 4 years, including losing America's major spy base in Niger and failing to negotiate a deal with an ally to reposition those assets. It's now caught with a foothold among the Sahel region's Russia-backed military juntas, just as the region becomes the world's terrorism hotspot. Now, in soft power terms, a Gallup poll published this year showed that China surpassed the U.S. in popularity in Africa. Cameron Hudson, a former CIA analyst who worked on Africa in a number of roles for both Democrat and Republican administrations, said the lack of resources had led to missteps. These include being caught by surprise when war erupted in Sudan in April last year, he said, and bungling talks with Niger's junta over its airbase. We have huge blind spots in our understanding of political dynamics, military dynamics in the countries where we are active. Hudson, now at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, told Reuters this is a mega issue that U.S. diplomacy faces and is particularly acute in Africa. We're going to take a quick break before we return with Mike Sichula in Zambia.
Irango Med is a leading distributor, working in partnership with NewMed and WestMed to meet the comprehensive needs of the Namibian healthcare sector. As a partner pursuing sustainable global healthcare, we offer industry-leading medical solutions through our key focus areas, which include pharmaceuticals, orthopedics, ophthalmology, surgical devices and capital equipment, as well as a well-established scientific laboratory division. In healthcare, Irango Med is committed to making a difference. What about you?
All right, it's time for us to talk to Mike Sichula in Zambia. Good morning, Mike. Udubanji. It doesn't seem like we're getting Mike's audio over there. Let's take a quick break and then we'll return and see if we can continue with the stories.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
All right, we're still hoping to reconnect with Mr. Mike Sichula in Zambia, but in the meantime, let's get into some of his stories. Former President Edgar Lungu is among other leaders of the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, who have been expelled by a splinter group. Opposition Patriotic Front faction, acting President Robert Chabinga, has expelled former President Edgar Lungu and other senior members of the party. Those expelled include Given Lubinda, Kabaso, Kampampi, Rafael Nakachinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, and Miles Sampa. And Mr. Chabinga has also recalled Mr. Sampa from representing the party at the Pan-African Parliament. Mr. Chabinga, who is also Mafinga Member of Parliament, said only the New Patriotic Front, which he leads, is the legitimate opposition party which has not yet joined any political alliance. Earlier, Mr. Miles Sampa had posted an injunction on his Facebook page seeking to restrain Mr. Chabinga from holding the press briefing, but Chabinga said he had not been served with the court order. Staying with Zambia, the Higher Education Authority will deregister institutions of higher learning that enroll students who do not meet the minimum entry requirements. Authority Director General Kajila Chinsembo says the institutions are abrogating the law by claiming to provide opportunities to the youth by evading the Higher Education Act. Professor Chinsembo said fraudulent admission of students into college will be met with the full force of the Higher Education Act and its subsidiary regulations. HEA Director Quality Assurance Martin Mushumba added that colleges will only be allowed to provide diplomas as the highest qualification in line with the new regulations. Now, South Africa's economic freedom fighters has welcomed President Hakainde Hichilema's decision to lift the 7-year travel ban on its leader Julius Malema. In 2017, former President Edgar Lungu declared Mr. Malema persona non grata for standing in solidarity with Mr. Hichilema, who was then opposition leader during Mr. Lungu's reign. Lungu banned me from entering Zambia, Malema said. Now, Malema was among invited guests at Botswana's presidential inauguration ceremony last week, where he complained about the ban. I'm on my way to see HH, president of Zambia. I was banned by Lungu fighting for HH because Lungu arrested HH and said he was obstructing traffic and you cannot arrest an opposition for those things. And then Lungu banned me. HH comes to power and doesn't uplift my restriction, Malema had told journalists. And in the last of Mike Sichula's stories from Zambia, 15 countries have confirmed participation in the Zambia Badminton International Championship, which is scheduled for Thursday this week. Badminton Association of Zambia President Kingsley Mulenga says preparations for the event are on course and that the association is expecting over 100 local and international players. The national team coach Mark Banda says players in camp are highly motivated and enthusiastic ahead of the championship. And Zambia's top-ranked badminton player Kalombo Mulenga said the national team has good prospects of going far in the tournament. Those have been the stories from Zambia from Mike Sichula. He will be back later in the week to give us more of the latest from the real Africa. Stay with us as we now swing over to Botswana. All right, it's time for us to talk to the one and only Rorisang Mogojwe. Rorisang Dumela.
Dumela Ashwin and Dumela to all our viewers. Good morning.
It's good to have you in Africa. Good morning. Like now we know Botswana President Advocate Duma Boko has announced the first ministerial positions. Please tell us more.
Yes, that the newly elected President Duma Boko has elected the first 6 members of his cabinet. He said he's going to elect 12 more, making it 18 cabinet members. So he's only doing it in batches for now in order to allow members of the public to engage and critique and reflect on the kind of government that he is trying to form as it continues to shape up. Now, some of the notable appointments, of course, are the current or the reigning Miss World Africa rather, Lesotho Chombo, who has been appointed as the Youth and Gender Affairs Minister. Now, this has received reactions and different reactions because a lot of people feel that she's still quite young and she's still quite inexperienced, and she's only 25 years old. And even though she is an attorney by profession, she is still fresh out of law school. And before she went for Miss World, she then decided to give up her law career in order to focus more on her Foundation. She has been working for the Mogojwe Foundation, which is big on community development, and that's essentially how she caught the attention of the current administration in Botswana. She has received mixed reviews, but a lot of people are also, in the same breath, quite welcoming of this new appointment because she represents youth and she represents women, and because of the fact that she's big on community development, means that it is a new era or a new page for youth leadership in Botswana. Some of the appointments include the Minister of Health, who has been widely welcomed by the public here in Botswana. And this is because really what the president did was he was matching the academic and the professional background of the individuals to their current portfolios. There was also a new ministry formed, which was the Ministry of Child Affairs and Basic Education. This one is brand new. It was part of the campaign promises by Boko's party, the Umbrella for Democratic Change. Now we look forward to seeing more of these appointments. We are looking forward to 12 more appointments in the coming weeks, as the president has promised.
All right, Rorisang. Now, we'll certainly be keeping an eye on those developments. Now, please tell us of the story of Pitseng Gauberekwe, a Mosarwa tribesman who has been lying in Naganzi morgue since December 2021.
All right, there's a little bit of a backstory to the story, so if you could allow me to just give that a little bit of time. What happened was that this man, he was an elderly man. He was sick in 2014, and he was then forced to move to a new settlement near the Central Kalahari Game Reserve in order to be a little bit closer to medical or amenities. Before he passed away, he informed his family that he would like to be buried in his ancestral home, the ancestral land with the KGR, because he is a Mosara man who had, been born and bred within the KGR. So that was his dying wish. And when he died in December 2021. And when he died, unfortunately, the family was denied permission to bury him within the CKGR by the council because, if you can recall, the CKGR is a national park, a Central Kalahari Game Reserve, and it's protected by the government. Now, he died in December 2021 and he has since been lying in the morgue since then. And when he was denied that permission, the family was denied permission to bury him with the CKGR. It then resulted in a legal battle, and this is where now the current president, Duma Boko, who is a practicing attorney or was a practicing attorney advocate at the time, was involved in this case. So at the Court of Appeal, so they lost that Court of Appeal. Fast forward to 2024, the family now has renewed hope that they will now be able to bury their father in the CKGR as he had, requested, and they have since put out a request to President Duma Boko, and he said he's going to take this matter into consideration. He has been lying in the morgue since 2021, and the morgue owner says he has the costs are up to more than 500,000, which is about 37 or 38,000 US dollars. So that is a lot of cost, and that's where we are now in 2024. We're waiting to see if the current president will actually accede to the request by the family to bury this man in the CKGR.
Thank you, Rorisang. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that story as well. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get into your third story, but thank you once again for bringing us the latest news stories from Botswana.
All right, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to the next updates. Good morning.
Awesome. All right, this is Africa Good Morning. Let's have a look at the weather predictions. In economic news this morning, the 29th UN Climate Change Conference is taking place from November 11 to 22 in Baku, Azerbaijan, bringing global attention to urgent issues surrounding climate finance, with trillions needed to support poorer nations in adapting and mitigating climate change. The stakes couldn't be higher. Climate Analytics CEO Bill Hare stresses that the fate of the planet depends very much on what we're able to pull off in the next 5 or 10 years in this space, COP29, and nationally. So the stakes couldn't be higher. From the economic damages point of view, the investment costs of trillions are outweighs to get onto a clean pathway are outweighed by the multiple trillions that it will cost in damages if we don't. A major challenge is finding funding for poorer nations, as the current $100 billion in annual support falls short. Many experts now argue for at least $1 trillion annually. Let's have a look at the economic indicators.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Let's have a look at the highlights from the broadcast. Mauritius Prime Minister accepts huge defeat in election. DR Congo opposition, civil society dig in as Tshisekedi plots constitutional change. COP29 in Baku, high stakes and a $1 trillion question for climate finance. DSTV 285, GOTV 25, oneup2.com and Network Media Hub is precisely where you can find us. From me, Ashwin Berry and the Africa Good Morning team, Swereja Kanaka.